Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. When it comes to the last days, end times, and the struggle that is to come, communications will be a huge thing when World War III starts. The first thing they're going to do is take out satellites, take out communications, take out cell phones, take out bank machines, and and delivery networks, supply chains, and you need a way to communicate. You need a way to communicate with your neighbors, with your family down the road, or maybe 100 miles away, or maybe your family across states or in different provinces. Ideally, you need a way to communicate with them during, maybe the quote unquote better times. Or in the tough times, you need a way to at least listen on the airways for exactly what's happening. Communications is huge, and to have the ability to listen, to hear what's going on outside of mainstream media, outside of what the government is saying, to hear real life reports on the ground, what people's situations are, if they have power, if they have internet, if they have food, whatever it may be. The ability to listen is going to be massive from an intelligence point of view. You are your intelligence agency, so you need to have the tools to collect that information. One of the easy ways, and I've said it before, is amateur radio, ham radio. And yes, you need to get a government license for it, but in an emergency, you are legally allowed to use it. Again, in an emergency. I suggest you get it. You know what? If you're worried about the government having identification on you, home address, phone number, all these sorts of things, because you have to be licensed with the government. Well, the government knows where you are anyways, because you file taxes, you pay taxes, you have mortgage. The government has all the location information on you. By the way, they're tracking your cell phone as well. So if you have a cell phone, they know where you are at all times, and probably even are listening in on whatever it is you're doing. So, ham radio is, and getting that license is not that big a deal from that point of view. But it is incredibly important to have because you can communicate over thousands of kilometers, even around the world, and you can hear what's going on. And so I've been working recently to learn Morse code. Now I know my phonetical alphabet. This is the phonetical alphabet: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India. You've heard it before. It's important to know the phonetic alphabet because if you're listening to communications, they're going to be using this phonetic alphabet a lot. Why do they use that? Well, it helps when the signal's not so strong to delineate between different letters or words that maybe sound the same. These phonetic letters, the phonetic alphabet, helps you understand what the person is trying to tell you and what letters they're using. Um, so the phonetic alphabet is one, but then Morse code (CW). Now, I've said it before, where there's been hostages who have used CW with their eyes, for example, to get out a message of torture or whatever it may be to the people that the video is going to. And it could be very helpful. You can do it with sound as well by knocking on a wall for others to hear you, for example. So Morse code (CW) is very important. If you want short range communications that are effectively encrypted, maybe you do Morse code over family radio service walkie talkies. Why? Because most of your neighbors will have no idea what Morse code is, and when the internet's down, they're not going to be able to search for it. So likely they're not going to be able to figure out exactly what you're saying. It'll just sound like a bunch of dits and dahs. So it's a a relatively easy way to encrypt communications for the short distance. Now, sure, governments are going to have the ability to decrypt it. They have trained people on staff, but very very few people, in a relative sense, based compared to the core, the basic population of your location. Probably 99.9% of people have no idea how to decode Morse code, especially at any speed. So it's going to be a simple, easy way to quote unquote encrypt communications and to have at least semi-private communications with neighbors, close folks around. Again, when you're sending signal around the world over ham radio, well, there's going to be probably lots of ham radio operators who know how to decrypt that, and certainly governments. But again, it's just one more way to kind of hide your communications maybe down in the CW portion of the band, for example, and just be more discreet with what you're saying versus 99% of people who are going to be listening to communications. They're going to be listening on the lower sideband, upper sideband portions of the radio frequency spectrum and the different bands. And they'll, they can hear English, they understand English, but if you're doing CW back down there, there's going to be a lot fewer people who will understand it. So this article is from urbansurvivalnetwork.com, Prepper Basics, Morse Code and Phonetic Alphabet. And this is, I suggest you attempt to learn Morse code. It takes a little bit. It's taken me probably, a couple months to learn it. I have now done a POTA activation, Parks on the Air. I have had over 100 QSOs with CW. I'm not particularly fast at decoding it. But I can understand it. At a certain speed, I can understand it, and I can get the gist of what people are saying. Along with many other things you need to learn as a prepper, memorizing Morse code and the phonetic alphabet should be on that list. And again, for the serious prepper, I suggest, communications is going to be one of the biggest tools in your toolkit, and it's relatively free from the standpoint of, understanding at least how to communicate, how to operate a radio. Although Morse code is no longer used in its traditional sense, it can be used as an unconventional method to communicate with others long or short distance using radio lights. You can use lights to communicate messages over CW, Morse code. Sound, you can use sound waves. Hit a hammer on a rock or something for CW, and a variety of other methods. The phonetic alphabet, it's primarily only used when communicating over radio digital devices to prevent confusion between similar sounding letters. So, again, I'll end by saying if you want communications in a grid down scenario, yes, you need radios, but if you want a form of encryption, a way to set your communication apart and probably have a lot fewer people understand what it is, make it more obscure, make it harder to follow, harder to copy, learn CW, because most people are not learning it. So this is just one of these edge things, folks, that would be handy to know when things go sideways, when World War III starts, when communications go down, as they will. And if you want any other information other than mainstream media radio broadcasts, this is going to be one way to listen in and get it. So get prepared, and it doesn't take a lot. It's also excellent for stretching your mind, learning new things, and as part of the amateur radio hobby, it is an excellent thing to study. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.